I'm not VGRetro.
VGRetro, he's a retro gaming kind of guy. VGRetro, he remembers which games were oh so fly, yeah.
April Fools, suckers!
Dragon the Bruce Lee story is one of the worst attempts at a biopic I've ever seen, purely on the level of honesty to what the man actually went through. As a tribute to the life of one of the greatest martial artists of the 20th century, it inadvertently insults his very memory by trying to make his life more interesting than it actually was. Truth be told, this sort of storytelling is far more commonplace in China, where making lionized biopics and blending history with myth is far more commonplace, and I'd probably be more lenient towards it if it was. The problem is, this is an American movie, and when you get your facts wrong over here, the backlash is much stronger. What's amazing about this movie is how you don't need to be a Bruce Lee aficionado to tell that this really didn't happen. Fight scenes break out as evenly paced as any kung fu movie does, and each one is so outlandish even Master Bruce would be calling their bluff. But the biggest insult of all is how the film lies by saying that Lee's entire life was haunted by the sins of his forefathers handed down and embodied in the form of an imaginary Japanese warlord Freddy Krueger, who was able to foretell of his untimely death.
If they wanted to make a Bruce Lee kung fu movie, the least they could have done was stage the action like a Bruce Lee movie. They didn't. It's all a bunch of fast-paced MTV-style quick-cutting stuff. Fortunately, there is a silver lining to this cloud.
The obligatory game based on the movie tie-in for this is a rare case of the game being better than the movie it came from, mainly on account of it not sucking. Whereas the film lacks the spirit of Bruce Lee, this game makes up for it by giving fans just about everything you could want in a Bruce Lee fighting game. And since no one cares about the story in a fighting game, take as many liberties as you please. Want to fight the cast of Enter the Dragon? Here's your chance. Hey, this Bruce Lee actually looks and fights like Bruce Lee, unlike the Hawaiian guy they got in the movie. Phenomenal. All that being said, the game still is incredibly hard even when you try it on normal setting. Controls are pretty standard. X and Y for punching, B and A for kicking, and the back button is block. There are a number of other things you'll need to know though in order to play this game. Hitting back and X throws your opponent over your shoulder, but it's also a very good way to get yourself out of any grapple attacks your opponent throws at you. No pun intended. Another important thing to know is the handspring. Hitting down and left or right will allow you to dodge in any direction. Once you've mastered that, hit down, forward, and A to perform the kangaroo kick. Time this properly and you've got one of the most effective and coolest looking attacks. Rounding out the basics are the jump attacks. While in the air, hit punch for a guillotine and kick for a flying kick. There's one more attack you can do from up here and it's the hardest to figure out or even execute. That's a stomping attack. Most fighting games will allow you to perform a stomp attack on enemies that are down simply by hitting up and punch when you're on the ground level. In this game, you have to leap over your enemy and hit forward, down, and A while you're directly over your opponent's chest area. And the margin for error here is really small, so you'll be lucky to land the attack, period. See, look how many times I'm trying to land it. And I'm a pretty good gamer too. There, I nailed it. Ooh, ouch. I swear I didn't mean to land there. Once you master the controls, the next thing you'll need to know is the power meter. You see that blue bar right below your health? I thought those were points when I first played this, but it actually is your power level. Landing hits on your opponents will build it up, and getting hit knocks it down. You'll want to pay attention to this in later levels. Here's why. Once you reach the first notch on the power level, you're able to go into fighter mode. First time I saw this, I didn't know what it was. It just said fighter, and I was like, yes I am, thanks for noticing. Then after a while I accidentally hit the L button and went into fighter mode, and I was like, wow, this dude's faster than ever now. Fighter mode allows you to switch styles over to one that's faster and deadlier, only without the ability to block. After a while you will burn up your power meter with these attacks, so make sure you switch back to normal by hitting the R button to save your energy. The second notch is Nunchaku, and you'll really want to save up for this. Nunchuck attacks are the most powerful and deadly, just like the real Bruce Lee was whenever you used one. But just like fighter mode, you'll want to switch back to normal to save your energy. Only use the nunchuck when you really need it. Now for the level breakdown. The first level in the game, you'll be fighting a sailor with a chain, much like in the film. Only there, it was Bruce using the chain against a group of sailors, but I digress. This is one of the toughest opponents in the game, but once you move past him and stock up your energy, you'll be able to use the power level modes. For now, I can't offer too much advice except his chain can be blocked, and if he ever gets it around your neck, use back and punch to throw him overboard. Once you beat him, you'll see Bruce trying to unsuccessfully flirt with a girl a year later. Next thing you know, an angry chef wielding butcher knives decides to pick a fight with you just for talking to her. Sounds like another typical day in Kung Fu Movie Land. The chef's butcher knife can also be blocked. Seriously, I didn't know Bruce Lee was that tough. But the important thing to know here is once he loses half his health, the butcher will lead you outside and double team you with his palette swap twin. So try not to get hit too much in the first half. Now that you're facing two opponents, hit A when they've got you on both sides to perform a double jump kick and send them flying in both directions. But whatever you do, don't die here because you'll have to restart the level from back here in the alley with both of them attacking you. And even with full health, it's much harder. Once that's over, you get a bonus stage where you get to fight a wooden man. These stages are good for building up your power level. Getting hit won't hurt you, but it will knock time off the clock, and it's actually pretty inevitable. Just land as many hits as you can, and you're good to go. Why hello there, Black Belt Jones. I didn't know the real Bruce Lee actually sparred with you in a college gym. Actually, no. Here's where the fan service comes in, and the game makers decide to give you that deathmatch challenge your dad and all of his college buddies debated over after watching Enter the Dragon. Jim Kelly's got a mean slice kick over here which doubles as his grab attack. It can be blocked though, and feel free to whip out the nunchuck here, but use it sparingly if you can. Time for the fight between Bruce Lee and Johnny Sun.
This is one of the few historical moments the movie almost got right, in that there was a fight, but it didn't land Bruce Lee in the hospital for months like they'd have you believe.
But don't worry, this is a video game. As an opponent, Johnny has a mean 4-hit combo that you'll want to avoid. Don't underestimate this guy's height either. In the air, he will own you no matter what move you try to pull off. And don't tell Spock this, but the Vulcan neck pinch can always be countered with a back throw attack. Huh? I think we're going off script here. Or is this the game's attempt at trying to be meta? My only piece of advice here fighting these two ladies is, I hope you saved your nunchuck because now you're in palette swap twin hell. Butcher knives I can handle, but sticks? That's just not fair. Never try to air chop these gals because they can and always will counter it. Just whip out the nunchuck, get in as many long attacks as you can, and pray to God.
Well, that didn't work. There goes my last life. What the?
I forgot to mention, if you want continues in this game, you face off with this guy with only a quarter of your health. In other words, you're dead, pack it in.
I need to go do something crazy to offset my frustration.
Excuse me.
Right. On with the show. Hey, what happened to my hair?
Much as I'd like to show you the rest of the game, it's kicking my butt raw and I refuse to use save states for this, so I'll just skip ahead to the end. The final boss is Kruger Demon and defeating him is unbelievably tricky. Never attack him from the air because that scythe will counter it. What? Jeez! Look at this guy go! He saved up all that power just for the end boss? How do you do that? I've been playing this game for years and I will never be as badass as the guy who stuck this video on YouTube. Okay, so once you get him down to 0, that's not enough to kill him. You have to pull off what's called a bow tie with your nunchucks. It's just like in the movie when Lee flips over the demon and chokes it to death. To do this, you have to get close in with the nunchucks and press up, forward, and punch. Once you get him in a chokehold, keep mashing those buttons and enjoy a nice over-the-top death scene with lightning and everything. And really, that's the end of the game. But here's something I find fascinating. After seeing this electrified fatality move pulled off for years, I finally got around to watching this scene play out in the movie. And what do I get?
Kind of lost you there for a minute, bud. You okay?
No lightning. Wow, that's dull by comparison. The game did that better too. I mean, how is this possible? A game that's actually better than the movie it spawned from in every way that actually matters. Now I've seen everything.
VGRetro, he's a retro gaming kind of guy. VGRetro, he remembers which games were oh so fly, yeah. VGRetro, VGRetro.
Stop your shirt, Mr. White Man. Please. No ticky, no shirty. Order one from column A and one from column B. Me happy to build the railroads. Me happy to take the mines for you, Mr. White Man.
If you like what you saw here, I have a YouTube channel. You can check that out over there. Got a link. That way you can be updated every time I post a new video. I'm on Facebook. You can check me out over there. If you want to catch news on new episodes of From Pages to Pictures and Haimetude, go to that page and like it. Also, under my real name over there, just don't bother me too much. Privacy rules apply. I'm on Twitter. You can look me up right over there. Just so you know, on Twitter, the same rules apply in terms of my privacy. Don't send me too many messages. I'll go crazy. And lastly, I'm on Blip TV. You can check that out right over there. Subscribe to me there for direct exclusive access to Haimetude and From Pages to Pictures episodes and other stuff that YouTube does not want you to see. So that's about it. If you like my videos, share me on Facebook, tweet me, plus me, and do whatever you gotta do on your social networking sites. I really appreciate it. Love you guys, and peace.